Welcome to Take 5 with Father Tom. I'll be offering these weekly reflections throughout Lent. We'll be focusing on the psalms that we hear at Mass, the responsorial psalms that we sing between the first and the second readings. We don't often get to preach and reflect on those, but they're beautiful reflections for us to take us through Lent. The Psalms are a collection of 150 songs or poems collected in one book of the Old Testament. They express all of the human experiences calling out to God in thanksgiving, seeking repentance, in times of joy, in times of lamentation, in times of triumph, in times of sadness. And they're great to reflect on our spiritual lives. It's interesting, Jesus, of all the Old Testament books that he quotes, in the New Testament, he most often quotes from the Psalms. And he even quotes them from the cross. So when we raise our voices in prayer through the Psalms, we're really praying the prayers that Jesus prayed, and they're great to carry us through this Lenten journey. So for our first weekend, we're going to be hearing the gospel of Jesus and his temptation in the desert. He goes into the desert and Satan tempts him 3 times, and of course, Jesus rebukes him. The psalm that we'll be hearing is from the beautiful psalm, Psalm 91. The refrain that we'll all sing as a congregation is, "Be with me, Lord, when I am in trouble." You know, as we approach this Lenten season, we recall times that we perhaps are falling into some kind of bad habits, some kind of sins, and sometimes we feel like we can't get out of them, that we try to stop and then we fall back into old habits. We can even become feeling hopeless, even at times despondent or desperate. And we can really feel alone, just like Jesus would have been in the desert alone. The psalm is meant to remind us that in those times of trial, God is in fact present, and he's calling us to turn to him in those times of need. So we'll hear sung in the psalm, "You who dwell in the shelter of the Most High, say to the Lord, my refuge and fortress, my God in whom I'm trust." We're meant to be reminded that in those times of trial, we're actually there under God's protection. Then we'll go on to saying that God will send his angels in those times of trial to aid us. And then in the last part that we'll hear at Mass, we'll hear God himself speak, and he'll say that the person who calls upon him, I will answer him, I'll deliver him in distress and glorify him. The psalm is meant for us to be an occasion for us to raise up our voices in trust to the Lord, that no matter what we've been struggling with in the past, that in this Lenten season, we can open our hearts and trust to the Lord, that he's with us in those times and that he can help us through them so that we can move beyond them. So one closing question that we can take with us is, in this Lenten season, how is the Lord calling me to trust in him in times of challenge or trouble? God bless you.